Shabbat Shalom and good morning, my Hebrews and Shebrews. Welcome and thank you for coming to hang out with me, the Oilfield Disciple. It's a beautiful morning, balmy 28 degrees. I like it. I like the cold. All right, we're going to cruise with Jesus and talk about something for a minute. Haven't been making many of these videos, but I've been in several debates over the last couple of days over this issue of, the current news of who's the president. And I really don't like getting out of my lane, coming out of what the Bible says, teaching the Bible, and hopping into politics or social, economical issues. I don't really like doing that, but sometimes I got to. First of all, the media has blown this election out of the water, blown it to hell with what they've done. They've declared Biden the winner, and true fact, which is not true fact, and it's not correct because they're not done counting the votes, which is also totally ridiculous. According to the number of votes in right now, 145 million people voted. There's 327 million people in America. Now, this is one of the higher turnouts, maybe the highest turnout of voters in history, with 144 million. But still, that leaves damn near 200 million people that didn't vote. Now, I get it. Some are children and felons and whatnot, and aren't able to vote. But I seriously doubt that number's 200 million. So we got a lot of people just sitting on their hands not doing much. Now, I say that. Let me say that very loosely, because I also, on the other hand, say, yeah, you can go vote, but I really believe it's selected, not elected. But at least you have done your part. It's kind of like me preaching the gospel for Yahweh. If you go read John chapter 9, at the very end of it, Jesus says, all that the Father has given me is in my hand, and I'll not let them go. So in other words, the Father is who calls us, and we head towards Jesus because that's the way. But it's the Father that initiates this. And so why am I out preaching? Why am I out spreading the gospel if God's going to do it anyway? Because He said so. Because that's part of my duty. Well, it's the same thing with voting. It's part of our duty. But here's the deal. I went back and I watched the office of presidency. I'm all the way back from Washington until Barack Obama, Larry Soetoro. This stuff was getting corrupt back before the Civil War in the House and the Senate. Just bickering with one another and scandalizing and just ridiculousness. And we all think it just started last year or 4 years ago or 12 years ago or just a few years ago, whatever the case may be that you think. You haven't been paying attention. This has been crooked from the beginning. The Constitution is set up as we are a constitutional republic as a nation, and we elect our leaders through a democratic democracy. One person gets a vote, and then a final say comes from our delegates of each state. Well, the delegates hadn't declared anything yet, and so all you're doing is making a projection of a hope. Remember in 2016, there was no way Trump was going to win that. It was Hillary, hands down. That was the projections. As the end of the night progressed, everybody's freaking out, like, what are we going to do? We can't even lie about this one. And so what they do, they come up with this scheme this year of mail-in ballots and all this other stuff. It's crooked. And why do we want to be a part of that system? Well, because what else are you going to do? Move out. Go somewhere else. The problem with us here in America, we the people, we've stayed silent way too long. We're the silent majority, and the silent majority has become of no effect. We bought into the American dream. What is the American dream? Well, the American dream is the model of success that we are indoctrinated and hammered into us from the time we're about 3 years old. Go to school, get good grades, graduate from high school, go to college, get you a degree. You didn't get good enough grades in high school to get any kind of government grants or scholarships, and so you got to take that along, go to college, and that's going to cost you somewhere around $100,000. Just average, some more, some less. You're going to go get a degree in underwater basket weaving and prehistoric turtle anatomies because it sounds cool. You're going to get those degrees, and 4 years later, age 22, you go to hit the workforce. Well, there ain't no jobs for you to do underwater basket weaving or prehistoric turtle anatomy. So what do? You get an available job that is available to you in your area, and therein lies and begins your career. Some bounce around for a while. Some, that's what they do. They signed on with this company and they're roofers for the rest of their life, or they're plumbers, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. But why did you spend all that time going to college to be indoctrinated with more bullshit, go in debt $100,000 just to come out and get a job that I got without a degree? I'm already 4 years ahead of you, so I'm making more money than you. But anyway, get your degree, go get your job, go in debt, buy the house, buy the new car, new SUV, the truck, the minivan, whatever. Get married, have 1.5 kids, and retire at age 50 and live happily ever after. That's the 6X model here in America. It's pounded into us. Well, that's about 2% of the population achieves that American dream. The rest wind up in either dead-end jobs or a decent career. But either way, they're making just over minimum wage. They might be making $15, $16 an hour starting out, and learn to run equipment, get you some license here and there, and you can shoot on up there $30, $40 an hour. But you don't need college for that. The only thing that screwed me here in the oil field was after I pushed tools, rig manager for a while, I wanted to go be the consultant for company man. Well, no company would hire me because I didn't have any kind of degree. They were like, I don't care if it's underwater basket weaving, we need a degree. And so if I'd have went and got a degree, I could have probably been making about $1,000 to $1,500 a day as a consultant on doing it. And that's what I wanted to do. But hey, I still made excellent money. Back in the day, I pulled well over 100 G's a year. That was for a new Christ, and I didn't care. We did whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, and I didn't care how much it cost. But I kind of went under the American dream. A lot of people shoot under the American dream to go have their own dream. But that's what we're pounded into. And then we think every 4 years, every 2 years, we get to go up there and mark a box for some name that says he's this way or that way, and his beliefs are this or that. You mark your little black marker on that spot and shove that piece of paper in the machine, it counts your vote. That should be done with. How's it getting all screwed up? Why is it taking us weeks to figure out what was legal, what votes got counted that were illegal, that weren't actual registered voters, and yada, yada, yada? The Republicans have wanted to establish voter ID. Make it mandatory. You got to have an ID in order to vote, in order to get your ballot to count. Democrats, oh, hell no. Why? We got to have an ID to do just about everything on this planet, on this earth. Feel me? I mean, you got to have an ID to buy cigarettes, alcohol. You got to have an ID to buy a vehicle, insurance, registration, get a bank account, pay your bills, buy a house. Anything you do, you got to show an ID. But to vote for the highest office in all the land, you don't need an ID. They asked me what my current address was. I told them. They said, okay, you're good. That's it. That's all I got to do. Throw my vote in there. And that's legal? Okay. We need to decentralize, demonetize, defund these government agencies that are a drain on us, who have gained excessive power and use excessive force. Decentralize and make it public, make it private, whatever, our education and school systems. A senator doesn't need to make $250,000, $300,000 a damn year doing what he does. Let's get them a wage cut. Let's limit their terms in the House, Congress, Senate, which Congress is, House and Senate, executive, legislative, judicial, the whole thing. You know, our Supreme Court officials. Let's limit them. 3 or 4 terms, that's it. You don't need to be making a career out of this. Now the judges, that's debatable. I would have to really consider that one. But the rest of them, yeah, they need term limits. It's like the president has. 47 years Joe Biden been in there. Nancy Pelosi, 53. What have they done besides learn the loopholes and corruption? We need to outlaw lobbyists. All these lobbyists that give these senators and House representatives money to back a bill for them so it helps their company, helps their cause. We need to end that. Make that illegal as hell. Make it a felony. We need to get our voter election ballots, counters. We need to get that completely overhauled and fixed. I can do just about anything I want on this phone, but yet I can't open up 2 bank accounts in the same bank under the same name. It'll come back and say that account's already open. They can make a damn app where we can vote from our phones, and that would work. Get to vote once and then the app shuts down. You don't get to do nothing else after that. You don't get to reinstall it. You don't get to get another device. Then you've got to be that registered voter. You got to take a picture of your ID, even allow you to push the button to send. No, let's not do that. They're only another corruption. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, that's my thoughts this morning. Cruise to Jesus here. I hear it all the time. All you want to do is complain. All y'all want to do is complain. You don't have a plan. I just laid out a plan. Nobody's going to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. Nothing's going to happen with it probably, but there's your plan. Will it work? Try it. What we've been doing for the last 100 years ain't working. We're still trying to operate a voting system off of the population numbers in 1900, which was about, I think, 35 million people. Big difference. This ain't rocket science. It ain't brain surgery. We, the people, the silent majority, need to speak up and demand that this become this way. We need to call our senators. I've sent letters to my senators, tell them how I feel. Please don't vote for this bill, or please vote for that bill. You try calling them, but I've never been able to get a hold of them. I'm just a peon. I'm nobody. I don't even know if my letters got read. But I'm trying. I'm doing my part. It's just like preaching the gospel. I don't know if that seed's going to settle and plant and grow and flourish and come to fruition. All I know is God said go and plant it. So I do. It's the same thing we're looking at here. You continue to say, well, just one person, it ain't going to matter what I say or do anyway. Well, it might. You don't know. You haven't tried it. Give it a shot. Speak up. We got to make our voice heard. If not, we're going into bondage, y'all. We're going to go into captivity. We're going to lose all our civil rights. It'll be slow. It won't be wake up in the morning and everything's been stripped from us. It'll be slow and monotonous and very calculated. Just like all the dumb gun laws. Having a driver's license, having to have insurance, wear your seatbelt, all that stuff came about little by little. And they use scare tactics to the people to get them to comply. Without all of that, I remember when seatbelts wasn't mandatory and then it became mandatory. I remember my grandpa. He cut all the seatbelts out of his vehicle. Don't need them dumb things. The more people from that era refused to comply with that law. They didn't want to. Well, here we are. We need to learn to not comply and refuse to obey these unlawful orders. Stand as one in unity. Did y'all see the million Trump march in Washington, D.C. this weekend? It's covered up with people who wanted their voice heard. That's how things get done. Prayer was taken out of schools across the land by one woman. What was her name? Margaret O'Hara, I believe. Got mad because her son was praying in the mornings and saying the Pledge of Allegiance through a pit. Wound up getting it in on one person. Sounded like her voice counted, didn't it? Get off your butts and do something. Y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. Thanks for hanging with me. The Oilfield Disciple. I will catch you on the next ride.